DynamX, coming to you live this morning. I want to talk to you about debt. That's my topic this week. And I want to talk to you about student loan debt in particular. We've got a $1 trillion problem in our country with student loan debt. Did you know, and this is maybe as of like 2014, so the stat is a little old, it's probably gotten worse. Did you know that if you were to total up all of the interest that our federal government collects on student loan debt, it would have been the most second profitable company in the country next to ExxonMobil? That was in 2014. Think about how much interest that is off of student loans. So the topic right now, if you look on the news, Facebook, is our man Bernie Sanders saying we should forgive all the student loan debt and we should just wipe it all clean and let everyone start back at zero, which is cute, and it's a nice sentiment, and it's a good way to maybe win an election, but economically it's never going to happen and it makes no financial sense. So we've got to look at how do we actually handle our own student loan debt. Now here's my thoughts ahead of time. I did not go to college. I understand that college is needed for certain professions. If I'm going to be a doctor or a lawyer or something like that, I better go to college because there's so much I've got to learn. Okay, but if I'm going to start a business, definitely don't need college. Okay, if I'm just not sure what to do after high school, definitely don't need college. But it's really an issue that's been pushed on the young people in our country that you're supposed to go to college. Okay, that's the epidemic for my generation. For the older generation watching, the epidemic was buy a home. Even if you don't know if you want a home, you should buy a home because that's just what you're supposed to do. It's all of the should do's that kill you in life. So with the student loan debt, let's say you did go to college, you got student loan debt, you didn't get the job you wanted to get, or maybe you did get the job you wanted to get, but you just didn't expect the student loan debt. How do you handle it? How do you handle it? Now, going into it, first of all, if you're going to get student loan debt, you have to have a strategy. And you need to be looking at it as an investor and as a financier, not as a consumer or a young kid going to get a college education. Realize you're not dealing with the friendly admissions office that's just trying to help a young guy out. You are dealing with a $1 trillion industry that will slit your throat, take your money, and they're hoping that they can lock you down for life on payments. It's not this cute, like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed environment. You're like the millionth person they've dealt with today. So if you're getting a student loan, realize that it is predatory lending, in my opinion. It's predatory the way that they do it. They're looking for young people that don't have incomes yet, that don't understand money yet, that are willing to commit to 30, 40 years of payments that are basically like you can't get rid of it. Like there's no way to go bankrupt and get rid of student loans. There's no way to have them pulled off. If you had a cosigner and you die, that cosigner is responsible to pay those loans off for you. Like student loans are a secure program. And they don't, like, a kid doesn't know that. If I'm 18, I don't know that going into a college admissions office. So you have to go into it knowing a little bit about the student loans ahead of time. Now, let's say I was going to get a student loan and I was trying to, get into college, and I'm talking to the admissions officer and they're telling me, I can get this much money at this percentage rate. In all honesty, I'm probably going to look for a way to underspend on the actual tuition and use the difference to go invest. Okay, if I can get away with that, right? So if they say, hey, you get $100,000 for student loans, and I'm like, sweet, and then I only need, 75% of that. I'm going to try and find out how can I go make money with the other 25%, so while I'm in college, I'm not just broke all the time. I can actually have something coming in. So that's the first thing, is try and be financially wise when you get cheap money like that. The second thing is, when you get the student loan, it usually is a very reasonable interest rate. It's going to be like 5-6% maybe. So it's probably one of your less expensive debts, and it's probably going to be one of your bigger balances, which means it goes to the bottom of the priority list on payments. You are not trying to pay your student loan off first. Okay, they will let you put that thing in deferment. Like there's so many reasons why you shouldn't pay the student loan down debt off first. So we've talked about doing the debt buyout with the sacred account. So if you have a giant student loan, let's say that you're an attorney. If you're an attorney and you have a giant student loan, you should make minimum payments on that student loan so that it doesn't compound and you're paying just the interest accrual on the balance, and basically you're just leaving it at that. You're not going to pay it off any earlier than you planned to. And as you're doing your debt buyout with the sacred account, you're going to start saving up in the sacred account, and eventually, as you're whacking these debts down, they're going to build up inside the sacred account as a balance that you can borrow against and pay off your student loan entirely. That's how you want to do it. So if you're talking about student loan debt, like, that's the lowest priority. I know it's emotional for you. I know it's kind of like your mortgage. Like, and this is the thing, millennials and people that have student loan debt, they act like this is a new thing. The way that you act toward your student loans is the same way my parents acted towards their mortgage. It's huge. We need to pay it off first. It's the biggest payment we have. Imagine how much interest that is. Like, those are not new thoughts. So you need to study history and find out, well, how have successful people paid off mortgages? Did they? Did they want to? What were the benefits? What were the pros? What were the cons? Could I do something more with the cash flow? If it only cost me 5% on my student loan and I can go earn 10% with my cash, maybe I should do that instead. So these are all things you've got to consider, but I wanted to share that with you because we've got the old man talking about student loans being forgiven, and it's kind of a topic that's on everyone's mind. Now, if you are watching, before I wrap up here, if you are watching this right now, I will be doing a live course tonight, 7 p.m. Alaska time. That's going to be 11 p.m. Eastern time, 10 p.m. Central time, on wealth creation. I'm going to be talking about debt. I'll be talking about debt on this course. So if you're watching this today and you want to tune into the course, we will live stream it on Facebook. It'll be on Instagram as well. If you're a Wealth DynamX University client, we will have that posted on our portal so that you can watch that at any time. But that's what I wanted to share with you. Now, if you were watching this as well today and you were like, man, what's the sacred account that he's talking about? I want to share with you a little bit about that too. So I just posted a link in the comments for sacredaccount.com. Sacredaccount.com. This account is the exact account that we will use to pay off student loan debt, credit card debt, whatever the debt would be, right? And you use the account as your own personal financing source so you can buy out your debt. The account does grow tax-free. It earns an average 6 to 8% gross annual dividend. Again, tax-free, which is the equivalent of like 8 or 9% if you're talking taxable. And that's the money that's going to continue to grow while you pay off your student loan debt. So if you click on that link, sacredaccount.com, sacredaccount.com, that's going to give you some more information about the sacred account and how you can utilize it. If you'd like to get information on it from me, reach out to me. You can always hit me up on Facebook. You can also go through that sacred account link, submit your information. We'd love to talk to you. Until next time, have a great day. I will talk to you guys soon. Make sure you do like, share, and subscribe.